Douglas County is still cleaning up from the F1 tornado that hit Highlands Ranch last week.
Yeah, today they started to assess the damage there as another storm rolled through. You're looking live on I-25 right now, where you see a lot of mud on the highway there. That was because that area was flooded not too long ago. That again is near West 23rd. You know that area of the highway is right near downtown. So we're taking a look at that. We're trying to get an answer about a car that was stalled there for a little while to see why that car was stuck. But it's just an unbelievable storm. 1.81 inches of rain that fell in one area of town within an hour that just caused a lot of streets to flood.
We have been tracking this absolute mess on Interstate 25 and 20th Street, which we just showed you. And now take a look at this. Yeah,
so much water in the street right now. That's the sewer at 53rd and Sheridan. It could not handle it all, just became a geyser right there in the middle of the roadway. Here's what happened near that part of I-25 where we were looking at earlier and Coors Field, the river of water just rushing down the street as the surrounding land just covered in hail there.
I want to show you this video from Sloan's Lake. It shows just how much rain was coming down all at once. It came quick and fast, and Danielle has been tracking it all.
Yeah, it has been an active and busy afternoon for a lot of folks. Of course, the storm system dropping into the metro area right there about 3-4 o'clock. People trying to get out of work, and it has created just a mess on the roads. Mother Nature delivering all of the ingredients for severe thunderstorms for us with a huge hail, strong winds, heavy drenching rains, flash flooding, and we can't rule out we might see a tornado here or there throughout the evening. In fact, the Denver area under a tornado watch. We're going to be looking at that continuing until about 9 o'clock tonight everywhere in that orange box under the tornado watch. For now, we have just this one severe cell that has been parked across the city and now is moving out toward DIA and parts of eastern Colorado. A lot of lightning out there, and we still have the severe thunderstorm warning going until 5:15. Radar indicating potentially hail about 2 inches in diameter. That's like the size of a lime. That definitely can do some damage out there. And of course, the lightning not helping folks out at DIA. They are at a ground stop. No one can come in, no one can come out. It's just been a mess. Also, on the west side of town, like Steve was saying, close to 2 inches of rainfall up in the Highlands. No wonder they're under a flash flood warning until about 6 o'clock tonight, parts of Denver and Jefferson counties, because so much water came in with these storms. Back to that severe cell that is positioned out toward DIA, and we can slice it in half and get a good idea of what's happening within that powerful cell. And you can see how tall it is, indicating it is fierce. It still has a lot of energy and a lot of momentum to continue its march off to the northeast. The top of those clouds easily about 40,000 feet. We've been dealing with hail too coming down. The threat will remain, and this is just kind of a look at our hail tracker, what we have seen thus far. We can kind of line it up right there on I-70. Many spots reporting easily over 2 inches in diameter. Of course, parts of downtown, Park Hill, looking at some hail, and then on the west side of town too, near Lakewood, about an inch or so in diameter. This pretty much is what we were anticipating today, with the threat for seeing tornadoes, hail being the biggest threat, but strong gusty winds and flooding also going to be an issue for folks. We've already seen that happening, and once again we could be looking at that for the next couple of hours. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen, he has been our eyes and ears on the ground driving around within this storm. And Corey, it looks like you're at E470, you're just south of the airport, kind of in the heart of it. Looks like no hail though, at least that I can see.
Yeah, not at the moment. The hail has kind of been in and out as we've made our way down E470, and we've kind of encountered a bit of a traffic snafu down here at the bottom of E470. It's right about where you get to the I-70 interchange. We can't really see, the traffic has been stopped here for a few minutes. We can't really see what the issue is, but we have seen several things that could cause problems like this, and mainly related to the amount of water that has just been coming out of this storm over here by Denver International Airport. Very similar to the amount of rain, almost, not quite the 1.83 inches that we saw closer to the downtown area, but we have seen some heavy rain out here with pooling water in spots. We've seen it 3 or 4 inches deep, so that's enough to cause a hydroplaning issue at almost any speed. So we don't know if that may have been the case up here. And we've also seen people just hiding underneath the overpasses with their vehicles. And one of the big problems with that, of course, is you mentioned that, well, Katie said that she saw some of that hail fog. And so when hail sits on the road and there is warmer air above it, you kind of get this fog that develops, and you cannot see what is happening underneath those overpasses when that happens. So the traffic is now moving now, so we're going to get back on the road and continue to chase this severe warned storm for you guys.
Lots of demand, Corey, from people on Twitter saying, I've seen people park under overpasses. Please don't do that, because when you do that, you might not see, other traffic might not see you, and that can cause an even bigger problem. So Corey Reppenhagen, stay safe out there. Hope that traffic clears up soon.
Yeah, it's so dangerous. We want to check in with our Katie Eastman, who actually had to pull off on the side, but not under an overpass. She pulled off on a frontage road off of I-70 East, and now you are on the move again. We like to see that, Katie.
We are on the move again. Now we're trying to head back, and honestly, I think the frontage road for now, heading back west, is a little faster, because I think Corey and I might be very close to each other. We're seeing that traffic too, just because of people hiding under the overpasses, and some people we've seen look like they have some blown out windows, and so now they're staying on that overpass, under the overpass, just to try to protect themselves from probably getting wet. Luckily, I'm going to show you what's in front of us. No more hail. It is sunny out, but the hail is still. Luckily, it's melting so quickly though, so the roads seem to be it's fast going here. A camera for me to switch to. Oh, yep, to show the traffic out there. It's honestly moving. Hopefully, things will just get back to normal around here real quick, and we'll be all good.
What, that cell service is pretty darn good for where Katie Eastman is right now.
Considering,
So,
right?
Yeah, Katie, thank you. We appreciate it. Want to get to Keely Chalmers, who has made her way to Lodo, where we saw a ton of flooding, including some flooding on I-25 in the area of 23rd there. Keely, what are you seeing in Lodo right now?
Well, we're seeing the results of that flooding on I-25. We're actually sitting in what is almost a parking lot. Traffic is backed up, barely moving through Lodo, I think for a couple reasons. One, the baseball game, so that's actually good news. It's going on, but also because of the issues with the flooding on the road. So I want to show you, I think we're on Blake Street, is that correct? Yeah, we're on Blake Street, where you can see alongside the roads what looks like snow. That hail. In fact, we're seeing people throwing not snowballs, hail balls down here in Lodo as they head around and to the baseball game. So again, no flooding where we are, just traffic is a nightmare here in downtown, again, because of the flooding on the interstates and some of the surrounding roads. So my advice to you, if you're heading anywhere, avoid this area, and your best bet is just to stay put. I'll send it back to you.
That sounds a lot better than sticking around in that traffic. Although I saw a pedal pub just to the left of the screen there. I hope that wasn't going during all this. That would have been a nightmare.
So true, so true.
Yeah. All right,
Keely,
Keely
thank
Chalmers.
you. Stay
Appreciate
safe.
it.
You bet.
We want to get you some pictures now. Oh my goodness, this appears to be on I-25. This is the flooding that we have been talking about. So dangerous. We've seen cars stalled, and now this one appears to be completely submerged underwater.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is the car's owner or someone trying to bust out a window in the back.
That looks like first responders. That's the kind of tools that they have there. We hope that there's no one inside that car right now, but we're watching as they try to kind of get that car moving and break that back window there. To get toward it. It looks like this, can we get a clarification on where this is? I don't know if this is on the highway or if this is at 38th and Inca right now. So it's near I-25. You imagine all that water that we saw on I-25 spilling over onto some of the roads all around there. And what looks like first responders trying to do some work on a car there. Again, we are hopeful that no one is in that car. We haven't gotten any information about what's going on with that vehicle. Here's a look at that flooding I was talking about on I-25 and some what appear to be stalled vehicles there. Keep in mind, this part of town got almost 2 inches of rain in an hour. enough that the flood system, the flood prevention system in town is going to struggle with that. I don't know if you've been on a walk around town lately. You've seen that all the creeks and rivers are high because of all the water that we've had in town right now. Well, all those creeks and rivers exist because they are supposed to prevent things like this from happening. They're supposed to prevent flooding from roadways, but when they become overwhelmed and the ground continues to be saturated, you start to see flooding just like this. The good news is we've seen a lot of those waters on I-25 start to recede, but we did see some mud on the roadway there. It looked like CDOT was starting to clean some of that up.
Yep, we want to show you the Eastern Plains had a night of bad storms. This was overnight. This tornado that hit Logan County in northeast Colorado first touched down near the town of Kimball in Nebraska, and then it worked its way southeast across the state line. Our Corey Reppenhagen captured this shot now near the town of Peets.
We know there's a lot of damage in Highlands Ranch after that EF1 tornado swept through town, but officials don't know how many homes or the total cost to repair them all yet. So today, Douglas County deputies and people from the Office of Emergency Management there, they started going door to door to try to get that estimate. They needed to know the extent of the damage in order to be eligible for a presidential disaster declaration. Once they gather that information, they'll send it to the state. The state will then send it to FEMA.
We want to help our citizens as much as possible. That declaration would open what's called a public assistance grant, and that would help all of our public facilities.
Assessors are only looking at damage to people's homes. Douglas County says outside of homes, they believe Highlands Ranch lost 16,000 trees in this. I want to get over to meteorologist Chris Bianchi, who has been watching this wild weather that rolled through this afternoon. Chris, that number at the top is astounding.
Yeah, that's the one that stands out. And Steve, you mentioned it. These totals are coming on top of what's been such an exceptionally wet run for us here along the Front Range. So the water and the rainfall that we're getting here today, and especially when you get it in such a short order like what we had, unfortunately, that's what's leading to a lot of those scenes that you're seeing in Denver right now. But Lakewood, this will be on the east side of Lakewood, right near the Denver and Lakewood line. This is where we picked up about 2 inches worth of rainfall. Almost all of that came within about a 1 hour span. Commerce City, a little over an inch worth of rainfall. The totals are pretty impressive in and of themselves, but we've seen an inch, even 2 inches worth of rainfall this month, this spring, and it hasn't produced these kinds of flood issues like what we've been talking about. But that 1.1 inches worth of rainfall that we've seen, that came in 1 hour there on the east side of Lakewood. So often it's the rainfall rates. Can the ground catch up and absorb enough of that water to prevent flooding? So that's one of those things that we look out for. But of course, this comes on top of the amount of rainfall that we've had so far this June, almost 5.5 inches worth of rainfall so far this June before the storm system, already making it our wettest June on record. And that does not include the rainfall today. So again, the ground, Steve was talking about a second ago, the creeks, the rivers, the streams, anything that's built here to prevent this from happening, this sort of flooding from happening, it's overwhelmed at this point. The good news is these showers will continue to push their way off to the east, maybe another little storm out on the west side of town. We'll be right back.